Hi! Do you struggle getting erections? Or do you get erections but lose them while having sex? Or is your sex drive gone or significantly reduced? If any of this is happening to you, I can relate because I struggled with all of the above. I had a very difficult time getting it up. And then when I got it up, I would often lose my erection after a minute or two. And my sex drive was simply non-existent. So neither did I function sexually, nor did I have the urge to have sex. And this started happening to me when I was in my late 20s. This is my story. So I had my first encounter with erectile dysfunction in my late 20s. At this particular point, I was dating this beautiful woman, well, beautiful in my opinion, and I was going over to her place for the first time. So I jumped on the subway, took the subway to her place, to her neighborhood, walked over to her place, got to her building, took the elevator up to her floor, rang on a doorbell, and she opened up, and before I could say much, she pulled me into her apartment and we started making out. Then we ended up on the kitchen table making out, buttons started getting unbuttoned, clothes started to fly off, and she grabbed my crotch. I was rock hard and ready to go, and I then carried her to her bedroom where we continued to make out. We continued to unclothe each other and we're butt naked. And she grabs my crotch again. But this time I am limp. My penis is just dead. It's not interested in sex whatsoever. It's just lifeless. And yes, this was a shocking experience. But I thought it was a one-time event. I thought this was just, oh, this just happened. But it kept happening again and again and again. And this, realizing that I had erectile dysfunction, changed my life from being amazing and brilliant to a life filled with negative thoughts and a life being fairly gloomy. But it didn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense to me that I had erectile dysfunction because I was young, I lived a seemingly healthy life, I didn't smoke, I drank only modestly. Why did I have to deal with this? And since it didn't make any sense to me, I thought that there had to be a solution. So I started educating myself about erectile dysfunction. I read everything I could find in books and online, and I then started experimenting with anything I had read or heard could potentially have an impact, such as exercise and herbal remedies and yoga, etc. I tried everything. And by doing this, by educating myself and by experimenting, I found a solution to my erectile dysfunction in the end. It just took me 10 years. It actually took me more than 10 years. But it has now been 4 years since I implemented this solution, and I have been free of erectile dysfunction ever since. I now function sexually almost like I did in my peak, and all my worries related to sex are gone. And because I have found a solution to my erectile dysfunction, I wanted to pass on this knowledge to other men. Because if I could cure my own erectile dysfunction, chances are that other men can also cure their erectile dysfunction. This is what you learn in this video. You will learn what erectile dysfunction is. You will learn how common it is. You will learn about the most common causes of erectile dysfunction. But most importantly, you will learn how to cure erectile dysfunction naturally and permanently. And I will take you through a 10-week program that aims at doing this, curing ED naturally and permanently. At its core, this involves a number of healthy lifestyle changes, and it involves no drugs, no implants, and nothing synthetic. And this program has already worked for several men, me included. And the principles you will learn about in this program are principles that I maintain every day, and I still maintain them today. So what exactly is erectile dysfunction? Erectile dysfunction is the inability to get an erection hard enough for penetrative sex. So if you are not able to get an erection and proceed to having sex, you have ED. Also, if you lose the erection during sex and are therefore not able to finish the sex, you have erectile dysfunction as well. However, if this has happened to you once or a few times, this is not ED. This is totally normal. It happens to almost everyone. The body simply doesn't work perfectly all the time. ED means that the problem persists for a long period of time, or being a more or less permanent condition. There are also degrees of erectile dysfunction. Severe ED means that you would never be able to get it up. Then your case could also be one in which it sometimes works, but sometimes not, but the inconsistency is permanent. How common is erectile dysfunction? ED is not something that only affects men of age. Many young men also struggle with erectile dysfunction, and it is in fact common in men in their 20s and 30s. However, it does become more and more common as you age. And ED is not limited to certain countries or geographies. Instead, it is common in all countries all over the world. And if we look at worldwide statistics, we find that about 20% of all men worldwide suffer from erectile dysfunction. And in men above the age of 70, it is generally above 50%. Now, 20% of the global male population is about 800 million people. Needless to say, the health implications of this are enormous. What are the most common causes of erectile dysfunction? Many, if not most, cases of erectile dysfunction are related to lifestyle, or rather, a poor lifestyle, such as a bad diet, lack of exercise, excess stress, inadequate sleep, etc. But the direct reason for why you may struggle to get an erection is because of impaired blood flow. Because in order for you to get an erection, your penis needs to fill with blood. And if not enough blood can flow to the penis will simply not be erect. And the most common reasons why there is not enough blood flow to the penis, or in other words, why you might have erectile dysfunction, are aging. As we age, our bodies simply start working less and less efficiently. Lack of exercise, a bad diet, diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular diseases, stress, smoking, alcohol, pornography and masturbation, psychological problems, lack of sleep, or little or no sunshine. So, how can you cure erectile dysfunction naturally and permanently? Well, I cured my erectile dysfunction by changing my lifestyle to become healthier. I changed my diet, I exercised more, I cut pornography and masturbation from my life, and many other things. And if I was able to succeed and get my sexual functions back, other men can probably too. One key discovery I had during my more than 10 years of trying to cure my erectile dysfunction has been that The body is a very fine-tuned system consisting of millions of parts that work together and depend on each other. And it doesn't take much for this fine-tuned system to be kicked out of balance. A poor diet, for instance, is enough for me. And when my system is out of balance, the first change I see is that my sexual functions suffer. I start to struggle getting erections. So the solution to my erectile dysfunction was making healthy lifestyle changes. And I did this so I could get my body back in balance. And by living healthy, you give your body the chance to function optimally. And when the body functions optimally, sexual functions often come back. So let's talk about this 10-week program to cure erectile dysfunction. How long would it take for the average man to cure his erectile dysfunction? Well, it would depend on several factors, but one key factor would be how far out of balance his body was. For instance, for somebody who was significantly overweight or who was a heavy smoker, it could take a lot of time to get back in balance. However, for many men, 10 weeks or less should be adequate, because this amount of time should be enough to get the body back in adequate balance for the body to start functioning well sexually. And based on my more than 10 years of dealing with erectile dysfunction and searching for a solution, and in the end finding the solution, I have designed a 10-week program to cure erectile dysfunction. Many students have already followed the program and overcome their erectile dysfunction. However, a word of caution. If you choose to follow this program, you would probably only see results if you were disciplined and diligent, because it takes dedication and patience to make these changes. Now, let's run through the program. Week 1. During the first week, I would stop watching porn, stop masturbating, stop having sex, and stop anything sexual. Why would I do this? Well, many men overexpose themselves to sex. Many men consume large amounts of pornography and masturbate frequently. There is even a term called porn-induced erectile dysfunction, which describes ED that is caused by too much pornography and masturbation. Our worlds are saturated with sex, and our bodies and brains are often not able to handle this. Therefore, I would stop everything sexual in order to reboot my sexual system. Week 2. During the second week, I would continue the actions from week 1, eat healthier, try to cure nutritional deficiencies with supplements, quit smoking, quit drugs, and quit alcohol. Now, I would continue the actions from the first week because this is a cumulative program where I would make a new positive change every week while maintaining all previous positive changes. For instance, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to stop anything sexual in the first week and then not continue this in the second week and the third week and for the rest of the program. Now, a healthy diet is crucial for the body to operate optimally and for regaining sexual functions. Therefore, I would make sure I ate well. I would also take supplements in case I didn't get enough vitamins, minerals, good fatty acids, etc. because it is not always easy to get all the essential nutrients through foods. I would also stop smoking, drugs, and drinking if I did any of these because these can be very harmful to the body. By doing this, by making this dietary change, I would provide my body and mind with an environment with the right nutrients. Week 3. During the third week, I would continue the actions from week 1 and week 2. I would exercise more and better, and at least 2 hours a day. And I would also do what is called Kegel exercises. Exercise is one of the absolute best ways of improving our health, and therefore also for restarting sexual functions. Exercise improves blood flow throughout the body and has several other health benefits. When it comes to exercise, I would do 1 hour of moderate to intense exercise, such as playing sports, tennis, football, basketball, going to the gym, etc. And I would also do 1 hour of walking. And I would do Kegel exercises, or exercises on what is called the pelvic floor. A healthy pelvic floor is essential in order for the penis to function optimally, because the pelvic floor surrounds and supports the penis. Week 4. During the 4th week, I would continue the actions from week 1 to 3. I would stress less, and I would relax and slow down a little. A lot of people stress too much. For many people, stress is part of daily life. We stress on an everyday basis. However, stress has a number of damaging effects on the body. For instance, when we stress, we produce a lot of stress hormones, such as cortisol. And cortisol makes it much more difficult, indirectly, to function sexually. Also, when we stress, our bodies give less attention to and sometimes ignores the reproductive system, which then again makes it much more difficult to get erections. Therefore, I would in this week stress down and relax. And if I could, I would also pick up meditation or other relaxation techniques. Week 5. During the 5th week, I would continue the actions from week 1 to week 4, except for not having sex. And in this week, I would try to have sex once, for the first time into the program, but not to the point of orgasm. There's a good chance that by now, my body would have been rebalanced adequately for it to be able to have sex. In other words, it's possible that the 4 weeks of changes, if done diligently, were enough to regain sexual function. And the only way to find out would be to try to have sex. So therefore, I would go ahead and try to have sex. However, even if sex was successful, I would not have an orgasm. And why would I do this? I would do this because if I had an orgasm, I would most likely lose all or a very large portion of my sex drive. So by not having an orgasm, I would keep my sex drive super high instead of letting it go. And if sex was indeed successful this week, I could stop the program here and simply by maintaining the principles from week 1 to 4 going forward, I should be able to function well sexually. In other words, my ED should by doing this be cured. Week 6. During the 6th week, I would do the following. I would continue the actions from earlier weeks, except for not having sex. I would sleep more and sleep better. And I would try again 1 more time to have sex, but not to the point of orgasm. Sleep is incredibly important for the body to work optimally. But also, it is when we sleep that our bodies produce testosterone. And if you don't sleep enough, you probably will not produce enough testosterone. And if you don't have adequate testosterone levels, it is almost impossible to function sexually. So if sex was not successful last week, I would try again 1 more time this week. And if when I tried sex this week, if sex was successful, I could stop the program here and simply, by maintaining the principles from week 1 to 6, I should be able to have sex just like before. In other words, my ED should, by doing this, be gone and I should be cured. Week 7. During the 7th week, I would continue the actions from earlier weeks, except for not having sex. If possible, get direct sun exposure, and if not, take a vitamin D3 supplement. And again, I would try to have sex once, but not to the point of orgasm. Many people avoid the sun because they are scared of wrinkles and skin cancer. However, the sun is a life-giving force that we need in order for our bodies and minds to function optimally. Also, the sun enables your body to produce vitamin D3. Why is this vitamin so important? This vitamin is important because you need vitamin D3 in order to produce testosterone. In other words, with low levels of vitamin D3, you are likely to have low levels of testosterone. And with low testosterone levels, you will find it normally much more difficult to get erections. So therefore, if possible, I would try to get sunshine for, say, about 20 to 30 minutes every day and on large parts of my body. And if sunshine was not possible or not practical, I would take a vitamin D3 supplement. If sex was not successful last week, I would try again this week. And if I was able to have sex successfully this week, I could stop the program here and simply by maintaining the principles from week 1 to 7, I should be able to function well sexually, meaning my ED should, by doing this, be cured and I should be done with erectile dysfunction. Week 8. During the 8th week, I would do the following. I would continue the actions from earlier weeks, except for abstaining from sex. I would try to have sex once, but not to the point of orgasm. And then, roughly 60 to 90 minutes before sex, I would take the following supplements. I would take L-citrulline, roughly 7 grams in powder form. I would take pine bark, roughly 7 grams in powder form. I would take ZMA, roughly 0.75 grams in tablets or capsule form, and this typically comes out to 3 capsules or tablets. And then I would take Tribulus terrestris, also 7 grams in powder form. In my experience, most supplements are a waste of money and a waste of time, because most supplements I have bought have simply been a waste of my efforts. And only when I have bought very high quality supplements and taken them in large doses have I seen any results. But when I have done this, when I have used high quality supplements and I've taken them in large doses, the effects I have experienced have been incredible, absolutely amazing. But before I continue, I wanted to add a precaution about taste. Now, L-citrulline, I typically take 7 grams of this in powder form, I mix it with water and I drink it. It doesn't taste bad, it actually has a citric taste. Pine bark, on the other hand, has for me an absolutely horrendous taste. So when I take 7 grams of this and I mix it with water and I drink it, it tastes so bad that I just want to vomit. So, and the same goes for Tribulus terrestris. So what I do is I put this powder into capsules, and then when I swallow the capsules, it doesn't have any taste. So I have bought a small capsule making set and also capsules, and these are not expensive. I think a capsule making set is $20-$30, and the capsules, you can buy 1,000 capsules for roughly $20. But this combination of supplements, so L-citrulline, pine bark, ZMA, and Tribulus terrestris, has for me been incredible, and the effect has for me been, I would say, on par with pharmaceutical drugs, meaning the erections and the lasting of erections that I have gotten have been absolutely astonishing. But not only that, because there is one effect pharmaceutical drugs don't have that these supplements do have, and that is they make sex better. So the sensations from sex are simply amplified when taking these supplements. You may ask, is it safe to take these supplements in these high doses? And the answer is simply, I don't know. First of all, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not aware of any studies that have looked at this, taking these high doses over large periods of time. So there is a possibility that it could have negative effects, either in the short term or the long term. I simply don't know. However, I have taken these supplements in large doses for about 4 years, and I have never had any side effects or negative experiences. So, if sex was not successful last week, I would try again this week. And if this week, after taking the supplements and trying to have sex, if I was able to have sex successfully, then I could stop the program here, and simply by maintaining the principles from week 1 to 8, I should be able to have sex without any problems. In other words, my ED should be cured. Week 9. During the 9th week, I would again continue the principles from earlier weeks, except for not having sex, and I would again try to have sex once, but not to the point of orgasm. And then again, 60 to 90 minutes before having sex, I would take the following supplements. I would again take L-citrulline. I would also take pine bark again. I would take ZMA again. I would take Tribulus terrestris again. And I would add a supplement called Mucuna pruriens. And I would take this in powder form, and I would take roughly 7 grams. So in this week, I would add one more supplement to the mix, because there is a chance that this supplement would help kickstart my sexual functions, or that the combination of these supplements would enable me to function sexually. And there is also a chance that my body simply needed one more week to get back in balance. So one more week of exercising and eating well and getting sunshine and stressing less and so forth. To me, Mucuna also has a horrible taste. So I also put this in capsules, and when I swallow the capsules, it doesn't taste anything. And then I just wanted to repeat one more time what I said about safety, and that is, I can't say for sure that it is safe to take these supplements in these large doses, but I can say that I have taken these supplements for several years and I have never had any negative effects or experiences. However, bodies are different, and you may very well, if you choose to take these supplements, you may very well have a different experience. If sex was not successful last week, I would try again this week after taking the supplement combination. And if after taking these supplements and having sex, if sex was successful, if I was able to have sex this week, I could then stop the program here, and simply by maintaining the principles from week 1 to 9 going forward, I should be able to function just fine sexually. In other words, my erectile dysfunction should be gone and cured. Week 10, the very last week. So during this 10th week, during the last week, I would do the following. I would again continue the principles from earlier weeks, except for not having sex. I would again try to have sex once, but not to the point of orgasm. And I would again, 60 to 90 minutes before having sex, take supplements. And the supplements I would take would be L-citrulline again, pine bark again, ZMA again, Tribulus terrestris again, Mucuna pruriens one more time, and then I would add one more. I would add Tongkat Ali, and I would take approximately 7 grams of this in powder form. So in this week, I'm adding one more supplement to the mix because there is a chance that this supplement is what my body needed to kickstart my sexual functions, or that the combination of these supplements would enable me to function sexually. And then there is also the chance that my body simply needed the last and the 10th week to get back in balance. Now, to me, Tonkat Ali also has a very bitter and horrible taste. It's just very, very difficult to drink this when I mix it with water. So I also put this in capsules, and then when I swallow the capsules, it doesn't have a taste. And for the last week, I also wanted to repeat what I said about safety, because I'm not a doctor and I'm not aware of any studies that have looked at taking these supplements for, a long time and in large doses. So I cannot say for sure that it is safe to take these supplements in these large doses. But I can say that I have taken these supplements for several years myself, and I have never had any negative effects or experiences. So, if sex was not successful in week 9, I would try again this week after taking the supplements combination. And if I was able to have sex this week, I could then simply, by maintaining the principles from week 1 to 10 going forward, be able to function just fine sexually. In other words, my ED should be cured and I should never have to deal with erectile dysfunction again. So before we end this video, I just wanted to add a few final thoughts and a few final words. Now, let's say that you chose to follow this program. Well, first of all, congratulations, because, well, you took action, and taking action is the first step to solve your problem. And also, thank you for your time, and thanks for watching this video. But what I wanted to say is, if you, let's say in week 8, let's say you follow this program, and let's say in week 8 you were able to have sex, and then let's say by maintaining the principles in week 1 to 8 going forward, so for the next 2, 3, 4 months, whatever, you were able to function just fine sexually. You were able to have normal sex. Now, you may then think that, well, yes, I function well sexually, which is great, but I also have to maintain all these principles. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of management. And yes, first of all, this program is not a quick fix. I don't know if there is a quick fix. I mean, I have tried basically everything that is out there, and I have not been able to find a quick fix. So this program is based on sound, healthy lifestyle changes and no quick fixes. So it does take some management. But I wanted to try to help you out, and that is, so let's say you have maintained the principles from week 1 to 8, and you're getting a little tired of maintaining all of them. Here's what you could do. So you could stop taking one of the supplements and then see for the next 2 or 3 or 4 weeks if you maintained all the principles except for taking this one supplement, if you were then able to have sex normally. And if you were, for let's say 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, then it was probably not this one supplement that was helping you to a very large extent. So you could drop this. So then for the next few weeks, you could drop another supplement, or you could drop all the supplements together. So let's say you dropped all the supplements, and now for the next 2 or 3 weeks, you maintain all the other principles, and you see if you're able to function well sexually. And if you are, it probably then was not the supplements that was what you needed. And then you can roll back another change. You could roll back, for instance, a change about stress. So instead of then maintaining your stress condition, you can go back to your former life and stress like you did in the past. So if you do this for the next, say, 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, and then so you maintain all the principles other than, so you cut the supplements and now you cut the stress thing, and if you're now able to function well sexually, you now probably also know that it wasn't the stress thing that caused your erectile dysfunction. So now you can keep on rolling back change after change after change and try to get to the bottom of your erectile dysfunction. The principles you learn about in this video are the exact principles I have applied to cure my erectile dysfunction. Not only that, but I maintain these principles every day. Meaning every day I eat healthy, I exercise, I don't stress, etc. Actually, I don't necessarily take supplements on an everyday basis, but I maintain all these other principles. In fact, I no longer need supplements in order to function sexually, but I sometimes still take them because I love how they increase the pleasurable sensations from sex. And by maintaining these principles every day, I have been free from erectile dysfunction for about 4 years. Sex is no longer a source of stress or worry in my life, but rather what it should be. It's a source of pleasure and fun. And not only do I function super well sexually, but I also have more energy. I feel more alive, I am more focused, and I am happier, and I'm a more satisfied man. So question, do you want more information, or do you want to take a deeper dive into the solution to erectile dysfunction? Then head over to truelibido.com, and I will include links below the video so you can easily navigate. And then if you have any comments or questions, any general comments or questions, or anything specific to what you learn about this video or about this topic, please add them below.